there. Hello, everyone, welcome to our live Hommtown podcast. We got a really great, amazing group. If you're not on the Google Meets, DM me and get a link from us, because it's really great to be interacting with these people. You'll have a chance to really express your comments and interact, meet new people. It's a place where we really feel like we can mastermind as agents. We have a really amazing podcast today. This podcast today, we have special guests like Jimmy, Naira, and Marty. They're going to be talking about the 2024 social media mastermind plan. And one of the things that we do here every single year at Hommtown and for my business, Gary Watt Homes, every single year, what we do is we take a little bit of time and pause at this moment and reflect upon what we have done last year, and also review our accomplishments, our struggles, and that should be mapping out what we're doing for the next year. And I have meetings with a ton of brokers and affiliates to kind of go over that and kind of reflect with even my friends and my wife, reflect on how we can make 2024 an even better year and quickly improve and evolve our methods of what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. So I'm really excited today about what's going on. If you're just logging on, we have our Hommtown app over here, and Robert will put that on the link as well. You can download the app. If you're an agent, it's perfect for you guys to start trying it out. It's going to be on Test Flight. It's not on the App Store yet, so you actually have to download Apple's Test Flight. Then we have another link for you to download the Hommtown app, and then you could start trying it. We are looking to maybe launch by January. We've been wanting to launch by June, actually, of 2023, but there's been a lot of different hiccups that are very interesting, actually, about what we're doing. So what we have to do for Hommtown is we actually have to present it to the MLS, the MLS, right? Yeah. We present our app to CRMLS, and CRMLS has told us, wow, so what you're doing right here, we've never seen before. And we actually have to get a lawyer on here. So we had another meeting with their lawyer. Then their lawyer said, wow, we haven't ever encountered an app that is doing what your app is doing. So we actually have to bring it to the general counsel. So what we're waiting for right now is for our revisions and everything like that to be able to put onto the App Store to be compliant with the MLS. At the same time, they have to get approved with the general counsel because they haven't seen this before. Now, it's kind of annoying for us, but it's also really, I think it's really comforting in a lot of ways because it's never been done before, you know? And I feel like we're really pushing on the brink of innovation in what we're trying to do with our app right here. So there's several guests I want to introduce first. There's Ron from Rocket Mortgage. He just moved into our office, and I'm really glad he's here. We actually have two lenders here today. We have Stefan and Ron. But Ron, go ahead and give us a little, I want to give you a little shout out and introduce yourself and what you do and why Rocket Mortgage?
Hey guys, so Ron Addiel, Executive Loan Officer with Rocket Mortgage. I've been in the industry since 2002, and I've held so many different positions within the finance field. I had all my securities licenses with FINRA. I was the principal, actually the youngest principal of an OSJ up in Northern California, running mortgage and our investment group for one of the biggest banks out there. And I've prided myself in learning as much as I can around what a client really needs. Became a certified mortgage advisor as well. I'm working on my divorce professional lending designation on top of that. So education is a big deal to me, and educating my clients, helping them analyze what are their true desires, wants, and needs, and connecting with that, their why with my why, as far as why am I in this business? Why am I doing what I do every single day? And connecting that with my clients, it's important. Analyzing the client situation, figuring out the math behind it is crucial. All the typical things that a lender should be doing, which is closing on time and putting you in a position where you can go in with no loan contingency, all those are givens. We shouldn't pat ourselves on the back for doing our job, right? The fastest I've closed a loan is 11 days. And I've had colleagues do it in 4 days at Rocket Mortgage. We're the #1 lender in the entire country, where everybody else is doing billions. We're in the trillions. And so we figured it out how to map out getting leads, organic leads, and connecting with the consumers, and then partnering that up with our real estate agents. So quite a few benefits with Rocket Mortgage in general. The reason why I chose them is because Rocket is a machine. I've worked for many different mortgage banks in the past. I've worked for the big banks in the past. I've managed and really made some major changes with the big banks in the past, but nothing is like Rocket to me. The machine that's Rocket Mortgage, having that behind me, having it support my agents is important. And what Rocket did was 2 years ago came out with Rocket Local, which is people like me who know real estate agents who are purchase client centric, realtor centric. They recruited us, brought us on board so we could help the local markets at a very, very high level. And that's why I chose Rocket.
Awesome. Thank you for being here, Ron, today. I'm excited because even having Ron in our office is a real blessing. It's not just about loans, even for me with Ron. It's the conversations we have. It's the business mastery. It's thinking about social media. And I think that's what we're really looking forward to as we look into 2024 and how we're going to grow our businesses. What I always recommend to realtors, your affiliates like lenders, title, home warranty, all these people, termite people, they're your group that you're building in your business. As a real estate agent, it gets kind of lonely sometimes. You're by yourself a lot. You think you're building this business by yourself, but really when you build a really amazing network like this that can meet on a weekly basis like this, it becomes something really amazing. So I'm also going to give a little shout out to Anthony. I don't know if you want to meet and talk about yourself a little, Anthony. I thought this was really interesting. I met him at a party and I was telling him, tell me about what you do. Like, he's a notary. Anthony, are you still there?
Yep, I'm still here.
All right. Anthony, tell us about what you're doing. Tell me about my revelation, I guess, about your industry, about notary. I mean, who needs a notary? A notary that's the guys that escrow sends, right?
Yeah, and usually that's the most common thing, right, in the world of real estate. This is my, I think, 7th year now in real estate. I was a lender for a long time, but being on the front end, you learn to appreciate it, and be on the back end as a notary. A lot of times you talk to lenders, you talk to agents. I don't know who the notary is. Escrow sends them, but the conversation I had actually with Gary is, well, sometimes agents, lenders don't know that they can choose their notary, right? It's think about, like Ron was saying, think about your team, think about who you build, right? Like Gary said, the network. So a lot of times, right, you have the agents who are getting the clients or lenders who are getting the clients, and they're working in tandem with one another. But then when it comes down to the final closing table, when you want to get that, especially first time home buyer photo, right, signing the docs, you get that last little finish, no one's there. It's just the notary, and sometimes it's someone that no one knows. And so, I was talking to Gary. I said, well, have you ever thought about adding on that final piece of the partner, right? You're doing all the work from A to Y. Why not miss that little Z section to add in that motion to have that notary advocate? Talk about every transaction, have them be your final cheerleader.
So yeah, I thought that was pretty mind blowing, and I was like, wow, you can actually control this whole experience start to finish. Because I remember when I closed on a house I purchased, this guy came in and I had no idea who he was, and he was supposed to be guiding me to sign all the documents, and he didn't really know the documents himself. He was just there to make sure that the initials were in the right place and that they signed. And I had questions about it and he didn't know how to answer. He said, call your lender. I couldn't get a hold of my lender. So it was a really, Ron wasn't my lender at that time. But it was really important step, I think, that is kind of missing in all of this. And I think that would be really kind of beneficial for all of us to have this in that way. So thank you, Andy, for being here today. We always want to help each other's business. So Stefan, next week, if you want to jump in and introduce yourself, we would love to do that. But Ron, did you have something to say?
Yeah, I want to talk about how important it is to have Anthony. I closed 14 purchases last month. 3 of them almost got messed up because of what the notary was saying. So just a quick example, on one of the properties, it had a silent unit number, right? So one that didn't exist in any other documentation. The client felt like they were purchasing a single family home that shouldn't have a unit number attached to it, but title had a unit number. This notary almost stopped the entire transaction at the signing table because he turned around and said, this property shouldn't have a unit number. I don't know why you have a unit number. We should go back to escrow and go back to your lender and have them remove the unit number. So when you have the right notary that's backing you up and is not creating problems, that's extremely vital, because at that last second when emotions are really high, your notary can calm everything down and keep them on track. So it's important to have the right notary, and I try to choose my notaries. And Anthony, I'll be working with you definitely moving forward as well.
Yeah, if I can just kind of say something, right? The past couple of days have been pretty intense. We all know what happened with First American and then Fidelity. So a escrow company that I work with, right, they primarily partner with new builds. And today, yesterday, and the day before that, it was crunch time because people needed their keys. And kind of like Ron was saying, right, with these purchases, they're all first-time home buyers. And it's been a 6, 7 month long process for these people, and they're nervous. And can you imagine, the day after Christmas, I was working till 1 a.m. with a client, making sure loans get funded, making sure loans get closed. Escrow's working till midnight. I'm up at 5 the next morning getting loans signed. Those are the kind of notaries that you want to have on your team, because one mess up, one missed signature throws off the entire transaction. Can you imagine after 7, 8 months, you got to explain that to your clients? That's not a conversation that you want to have, nor with escrow, right? When everybody puts in all that work and they're putting in those late hours, you got to make sure to see who's on that finish line with you.
Very good. And I think that's super important. So thank you for being here today. I really appreciate that. And Ron and Anthony, we always want to introduce new guests onto the show and just to introduce to each other. I think that's what the power of this mastermind is and what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. So for those of you that don't know about Hommtown, I know, Anthony, I haven't really introduced to you before, like we just briefly talked. It's basically the ultimate social media app for real estate, where our aim is really to put the agent front and center through video content. And this is why the MLS is kind of giving us trouble with it, because they don't like that video content out there in that way, right? It's like Zillow and Instagram combined, and it's really pushing what we think that agents could be doing and should be doing. Because what we saw is that there's a lack of local insights when buying. The three problems that we really saw was that there's a lack of local insights in apps like Zillow and Redfin. It basically, you're just looking at houses and not really about the local community. Number two is that we saw that Zillow and Redfin and all those other Trulia and everything like that, they're trying to take the agent out of the picture, take the leads, and basically sell them back to the agent. Number three is that there's a marketing gap. We're doing all our marketing on Instagram and Facebook and everything else, but all the buyers are on Zillow and Redfin. And so if you have those two things, what Hommtown really does is bridge the gap that ensures the buyers are not just seeing important property information, but also gain access to your unique insights about each house and about each neighborhood. So that's what we see, and we're really working to push this. And that's why we really are inviting realtors to join us in this process and in this journey of building this app, not just as users, but allowing the opportunity for agents to be able to become investors in this process also. One really amazing thing, and as the 2024 year comes up, I just got a new listing that's going to be coming up in January 1st, but any new agents that Stefan or Anthony or Ronald, like any new agent that that takes listings, what we're doing now is we're actually going to those agents and we're talking to those agents and we're doing social media content for those agents free right now that are Hommtown agents. So we are going to those listings. Just yesterday, we went to Long Beach. There's a small 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo unit right in front of the beach. We did a whole walkthrough. We talked about the unit. And then we went to this really amazing Mexican restaurant and started talking to the restaurant owner about what makes his restaurant really unique. So it's a really great merge of not just homes, but putting the agent front and center, but local neighborhood posts. What he got out of it, I think, was amazing, because as we're promoting the restaurant and talking to the owner starts thinking about the agent as the local expert and almost like the mayor that goes around and knows everyone and connects everyone. And I really think that's the really power of that. Last week, we talked about the fast home tour scheduling. When I showed him in person, he was just blown away by how simple and easy it is to schedule homes. And I think that's one thing in 2024, especially as the interest rates come down, there's going to be a lot of buyers stepping in the market. You're going to be doing a lot of showings. This tool, you're going to remember, how do I schedule homes faster rather than spending 30 minutes to an hour getting on this? So we're really excited for these 3 features. There's a lot more features, but really today what I want to focus on is Jimmy V and Naira talking about their 2024 social media plan, how maybe they can incorporate even Hommtown into their social media plan, because what we really want to do is step up the agents' game into what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. So, Jimmy V, are you ready? You want to start out first?
Oh yeah. Hey, what is going on, everybody? I am happy to be here. I mean, we've had a short dialogue, and I've already learned a few things and a few items that I definitely want to incorporate in my 2024 business plan for sure. So, quick background about myself. I'm out of the KW Beverly Hills office. I've had a chance to speak with Ronald on the lending side, very knowledgeable for sure. And I've been in the business going on about 4 years or so. Gary and I, we first connected. Gary, I don't even know if you remember this, but we had connected like on social media. Wasn't specifically on social media, but we connected and we hopped on a Zoom and we pretty much had a conversation about how to leverage social media for real estate wise. And then at the time, I was only doing comedy skits. You know, that's where I came from, online, making people laugh. And then Gary and I, we just had a quick conversation about that. And then that's where it ultimately left at. So years later, to obviously see Gary continue to execute, and now he's got the app. It's been very dope to actually see and to see it continue to grow. So for me, when it comes to social media, I like to use it as one of my pillars, as my tools, just because I've been able to successfully close a transaction from social media, right? So there is a return from there. But I know all of us, we always ask ourselves, okay, how much time do we have to incorporate in order to get that return, right? How much effort do we have to do? How do we measure what we are doing to see if it's actually utilizing our business? And the answer to that is there actually isn't a definite answer, right? That's the very tough thing. Social media is definitely like the wild west, where you're throwing things out there. Something might hit, something might not. But what we do know is by not posting, you're not giving yourself a chance, right? So at least when you do have that opportunity to post, the post may not be effective December 2023, but February 2024, one of your friends or family saw, hey, I saw that you made that post a while back and I've been needing to connect it with you. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things to get somebody's attention. And once you've got their attention, the whole goal is to, as you guys know, stay top of mind, right? So then how do we do that without calling them every day? Are you ready to buy? You know, whatever the case. And for me, my answer to that is to just stay in action, just to stay in motion. Granted, it's not always showing a property, right? But maybe we're talking about the market. You know what I mean? One thing that I'm focusing on for my next year, which I'll share with you guys, is about 3 things, right? Number one is collaboration posts. You know, one thing that I've seen through Instagram specifically, I'm talking now, is now they've got a feature where if I collaborate with Gary on whatever video, the video is exposed to my audience, but now it's also exposed to Gary's audience as well, right? So now it's people that aren't familiar with seeing my face from Gary's audience, they now can see it, and then also vice versa, right? Now, why am I deciding to ultimately do this? I recently closed a transaction on a piece of land, maybe two or 3 weeks ago, and I collaborated with my client on it because they were excited about it. Of course, you know, they wanted to tell everybody on social media. So I did a simple collaboration post. I didn't think nothing of it. 2-3 days go by, I get a DM, actually before. So what Instagram now does is if you gain any new followers from that collaboration post, it's going to tell you in your activity tab, Gary Watt followed you from your collaboration with XYZ, right? So I'm looking at my activity tab. I gained a few followers. Okay, great. 2 days later, I get a DM. Somebody reaches out to me. Hey, I just saw you purchase that land. Congratulations. I've got some questions about land myself, right? So then obviously we know it's not a hot lead, but at least it's something that we can follow up on and see what can ultimately come about it. And I wouldn't have been able to get that if I didn't do the collaboration posts with my client, who then learned about me. All right. So that's one of the things there. Number two, I'm hoping to do a lot more community events, which we all know about, tapping into our sphere of influence, those people that we know, et cetera, et cetera. But not only with these events, I really want to amplify them on social media now. Right. So if there was somebody that may have got my email about the event, but they weren't able to come, now they can see it, that it was actually done, and they kind of get some type of FOMO, like, man, I missed out. Hey, next one, I'll be there for sure. Now, at least there's either pictures or video showing that the event was actually done. It was a success based on what you see online, and then it's something to look forward to for the next one. Right.
Jimmy, that reminds me of our launch party for Hommtown. And a lot of times why we did the launch party, it was a physical event that we can talk about, and why we did the book also. It gives you an excuse to talk about something sometimes, And so like with the launch party, what we did was we just created this massive amount of content for the launch party. And we're like, okay, look, there's this feature, make sure you come. And so it goes and it pushes beyond what it's trying to do and beyond what your normal social media could be. So let's say you have a client event. You're constantly reminding your clients, hey, don't forget about this event. Hey, I'm preparing for the event right now. I'm looking at the venue. Look at the venue. It's so amazing. Or you're talking about the food. Hey, I'm talking with the caterer right now, and the caterer is going to be delivering. Hey, and you're introducing caterer. But what you're really doing is I already get FOMO just hearing about you preparing for the party, and the party hasn't even happened, right? That's like marketing in advance, and then trying to push that out. So I think that's really amazing that you're thinking that way and creating spaces and opportunities for people to interact with you. I think that's what really these events, these things does. But social media is a way just to spread that news about that, So that's what I feel is really great. I want to give Naira a chance to talk a little bit. Naira, are you still there, Naira?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. Good to see you. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
Go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit, what you've been doing, and, tell us about your 2024 plan.
Awesome. Did I freeze on
No,
anybody?
you're good.
Cool. All right. So I'm Naira Ambar. I moved to Beverly Hills from Compass back in July. I run an all-women powerhouse real estate team. I've been in real estate for 8 years. I'm a recovering attorney turned realtor. So that's about me. I kind of just wanted to jump into it, Gary. Is that?
Go for it. Yeah.
Let's do it. Okay. Let me know if anyone can see my little chair. It's
That's
my doodle.
cool.
Okay, so I've been with Home Fairy for 8 years now, and one of the first things my coach has told me was, think of your business as a chair, and you have to have the 4 things to stand on. And so as we're business planning forward, what are your 4 kind of pinnacles of getting leads? Well, one of those should be social media. And that brings us to the most important aspects of social media, which I've broken down to 3 things, and that's consistency, content, and duration. So consistency, I think, is the number one thing that we all struggle with, myself personally, committing to days. So for example, what I'm doing is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I have a great assistant, God bless him. If you're like me, who just is like, I hate finding creative posts or doing things like that, get yourself an assistant, $500 a month. It's totally doable to have him post things for you or help you come up with creative ideas. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, he does my posts. And the way we do it is we'll brainstorm together. He puts it together for me. I approve it. And then with KW Command, we're able to do scheduled posts, which is really cool. So it's one done thing every Monday that he does for me. And then Tuesdays, Thursdays are my reel days. So those are the days that I will do reels. And that's kind of how I've broken it down to help me, because the way I think about it is like, great, I just have to really worry about 2 posts a week, really. Content is the next one. I found that having, I stalk people and I learn from other agents, and I have noticed that I get really bored if the content is one dimensional. Like it's all about information, or it's all funny, or it's all, voiceovers. So what I've noticed is the pages that do really well, and having talked to brokers who have a lot of followers or who do more business from social media than I have. I think last year I got 2 leads from social media, which is why this year I'm really hammering down on it.
Can I interrupt a little bit? Some people might be like, 2 leads, just 2 leads from social media, but 2 leads at any price point in LA is I mean, that's worth it. You can hire
yeah.
doing full time just social media with 2 leads. So I think that's amazing.
Thank you. And I was just kind of like messing around with it, to be quite honest. But I feel that as 2024, like having this system down is what's going to really push me to grow not only my following, which I have also used successful listing presentations, but also to get leads. And so content, going back to that aspect, you want to have educational content, you want to have funny. There's a lot of voiceovers you could do, or just anything that's a little, a day of the life of a realtor, or just buyers or whatever. There's a lot of things you could really pick up from Instagram. And then exterior content is what I call like pairing up with another agent or a lender and doing kind of a little mini podcast. I like to use AI for content ideas sometimes. So I have a trusted lender that I work with. And so we'll go on AI and say, hey, write us a script for blah, blah. We'll tweak it, obviously, and then we'll roll with it. Really easy. And the last thing is duration. I have an attention span of like a fruit fly. So I kind of go off of that. Anything, honestly, longer than 30 seconds or 45 seconds, I just kind of do this. So you want to hit it hard and you want to hit it within the first 30 seconds. And then if it goes longer than that, that's great. Just know that no one's really going to watch it. So your first 30 seconds is what I call your money maker. And that's it. That's all I got.
Awesome. Awesome. Very good.
That was 5 minutes, you guys. Go ahead.
That's awesome. That's perfect. We also have Marty here. So Marty finally got in. So we're here. Marty, did you want to come on and talk about your social media plan? Are you there, Marty? Let's see if Marty's going to come on. All right. I see him in the bottom right here, but he's not really coming on. No problem. Okay, great. Well, I'm really looking forward to it. I really love how Naira really wrote it down. And I always say, if you don't write it down, it doesn't exist. If it only exists in your head, it doesn't exist. So,
Gary,
yes.
Can you hear me now?
Hey, good, great. We have
Okay.
Marty.
Sorry about that.
Get Marty on. Give Marty a hand for being here. Made it.
Hey, so thanks, Gary. And it was great talking to you last time I saw you in the office. It's interesting. I'm using a lot of different aspects of social media, but I'm kind of old school. So what I'm really trying to do is use social media with some of the other direct mail marketing and things so that everything ties together. Yeah. And one of the great things I think with social media is, and I don't know if a lot of agents really realize this, but with Facebook, you can do retargeting. So if you're doing direct mail marketing, you can take that list through Facebook and retarget and use your social media to expose yourself again and again to people that are getting direct mail pieces from you. And I think that's really overlooked. And I think by combining, I think you have to come at it at multiple angles. You can't just rely on one or two things. And I think, it's great when people say, hey, God, Marty, I see your face everywhere. And I'm thinking like, what are they talking about? Right? But perception becomes reality, right? And so I think it's really important to continue that, and especially moving forward in 2024, because everybody is jumping into this, but it's about using it in a right form. And I like what you talk about becoming the local expert, with that local insight, that local authority. Everyone kind of overuses that term. So we do. I connect with a lot of the local retailers that I know, because I've been in Beverly Hills since 1962. So I've been here a couple of years, and I have a lot of relationships with people that I grew up with as kids that own businesses here. And we just did a big marketing with Mulberry Pizza, for example, and tied all that stuff. And so again, it's going back, I think, in your local market, if you're in Hollywood or North Hollywood, is to really work with retailers, because it ties into that local expert kind of insight of knowing the market. Because if you're moving there, it's about the schools, it's about the restaurants, it's about the parks, it's about the lifestyle. And you want to share that with people, because if someone's making a transition, they're relying on you as the expert, right? The expert, you're in real estate, you should know all these things. So it's not just about marketing your face, but it's marketing your knowledge.
Yep. That's
I think really important.
And I love the part that, Marty, you put where it needs to tie in to something else. I was talking to Ron about strategies and everything like that. If you just have a social media presence and only a social media presence, I feel like that is not going to be as effective, because when you are now putting yourself out there, and let's say someone does text you on social media and they say, great, Gary, I want to buy from you and I want to buy right now. and you're like scrambling, not knowing what to do, I feel like then you missed out on a huge opportunity of what you can be doing. I always tell my team, like, imagine we're preparing for 400 leads coming in a day. What are systems we can automate? How can we have those personal touches? And how can we make it so that, really hot buyers are there and taken care of? What people that need to buy in 3 months are taken care of? People need to buy in a year or more than a year are taken care of. How do we set up those systems so that we can help each and every one of those clients and not lose any of those leads as well? So setting up those systems for 2024 using AI, if you don't know how to, AI, I think, is the best thing that's happened so far. It is amazing. You just say, I don't know how to do this, but I want to set up a system where I get leads and I don't know what to do and I don't even know how to express it or say it, and I'm kind of dumb about that, but I want to do something to make sure that leads 3 years from now I can still keep in contact. What should I do? And it will spell out a whole entire business plan for you and really let you know about what you can be doing. And your job then is to put it on a calendar, execute it, get a good team member. I always found good team members or good partners are really important in executing things. And it's not just about planning, it's about executing. We hope that as we continue in 2024 and continue to have these conversations, that we keep each other accountable in what we set out to do and set out to accomplish in 2024. So I want to say thank you. That's all we have for today. We want to keep it short, simple, and sweet. Thank you for our online podcast. We wanted to be a space where agents that can connect with each other and really learn from each other as well. Remember, Hommtown, we're opening up for investments. Be sure to check it out. Give me a call if you have any questions about that. We'd love to share with you how to invest in Hommtown and in yourselves as well. Thank you, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
You guys.
Take care.
Thank you, everyone online. I think it's just my wife here. Thank you for always supporting me. How do we end?